Lights, camera, action.
Here we are.
Woo!
Have you missed me?
Well, I mean, I saw you like literally a week or so ago, and I speak to you most days. So,
It feels like I haven't seen you for a while.
No, well, you've been busy. We've both been busy, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've had a couple of weddings have kicked in.
Yeah.
You've been jet setting. You went to Morocco, didn't you?
You've been jet setting.
I mean,
too.
I kind of went to. I think I went to Italy, didn't I?
Yes.
Which was lovely.
Yeah. Was that good? Was it nice to have some pasta?
It was quite lovely. Yeah, I do love Tuscany. I think I've got 4 there this year.
Wow.
In Tuscany.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. It was a really, really lovely wedding. Wonderful couple, great people. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else to share with you on it, really. Like, the food was great. The venue was stunning. Mm-hmm. Weather worked out really well. It was like overcast, but that's, it's nice.
Yeah.
The day after it was roasting hot and then thunderstorms. So kind of like we looked out, didn't we? And you did look out. It's good.
You had sort of like a British weather where you had everything in one.
Yeah, we had most of it in an entire weekend. Yeah, but no, it was good. How about you? How was Morocco?
Yeah, really good. Biggest wedding of the year.
We're on the sofa today, aren't we?
We're on the sofa.
Those watching on YouTube,
just nice and chill. And yeah, it was good. Long weekend.
You are at home, aren't you, when you're in Morocco?
Yeah,
it does suit
you.
You're like the poster boy of Morocco. Have the tourist board been in touch yet?
No. They love me there.
Igor's back.
just let him in. But for once, the wedding planners and everything else, they actually got fast track for security, and literally I felt like royalty. Was escorted out, and it's never happened before. But yeah, that said, then welcome
to another idea.
We are a podcast for creatives and entrepreneurs
who just want to level up their business.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Igor, we forgot to do something very recently.
We did.
Do you know where we're going?
I know where you're going. I know exactly where.
Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday to us. We let our first birthday go by. We didn't even shout it out or mention it.
No. We're hustling so hard that we're just kind of like just going full steam ahead without even sort of like.
When I told Merla the other day that I think it was like a year anniversary, she was almost in tears at a desk because she'd let it slip by, or we not she, but like we had just forgotten about it. She was absolutely gutted. So I think we need to just put out. I said to her, we should just put out like the little like celebration emoji on our feed. So we'll do that. But yeah, I think it was start of May last year we put the first one out.
Yes, it was.
And we're now not in the start of May. We're now end of May. At recording. Yeah. We have, we've done 56 episodes have gone out.
It's ridiculous, isn't it, when you think about it?
Staggering, really.
Yeah.
Given that we just sat down that one sort of winter's afternoon in 2021, and just said, let's just trial it, and you made us just do our first episode. We've stuck to most of the principles that we set out at the start. We've stuck to them.
Of the consistency of
the production value. I'd say that's kind of increased slightly. We didn't know where it was going to go, whether that was going to happen, but we've done it.
Yeah,
we've missed 2 Mondays where an episode's not gone out in a year and a bit, 13 months. And to anybody, well done to us. Well done to us. Do you know what we have got? Actually, we haven't got a cake, but what we could do is one of the. I think it was. I could be wrong here. I think it was Mike who came out to the live episode one that we did over Christmas. He bought us some little tasting whiskies.
Oh yes, he did.
So we could have a little glass of whiskey in a bit.
We'll have a cheers on him.
But yeah, we've done it in that. We weren't sure whether we were going to be able to stick to it, but we kind of have.
Yeah. Do you think, has it been easy?
No. I think anybody. I know we've had people on here that are doing podcasts and doing podcasting, and we've spoken to people in the kind of podcast industry. And I think when you take on sort of a level of production that we've taken on, which is like to film it and to edit it, like that just adds a whole new layer that we would just never have been able to. I think we just thought it was going to be a bit easier than it was, but it has been hard.
Because if it was just sound, we could have literally do this from our homes, and
you wouldn't need to be here. Yeah. But it has been a commitment. It's been a commitment for both of us. You have to make the effort to drive up, every couple of Tuesdays, I have to, tolerate you for a day.
You love it.
But yeah, like we've grown a little bit. We've taken on an apprentice. We've, Merla's come on board.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's really what this episode is about, isn't it? A little bit. This is like a kind of a year in reflection for us.
A little recap
a few little
of the
things
year
that we wanted to just talk about and address.
Yeah.
And some lessons and some experiences that we wanted to pass on to you guys, the audience at home or wherever you may be. So yeah, we haven't got a guest today. It's just me and you.
No, just
you
me
stuck
and
with
you.
us, guys.
That's it. It's been a while since we've done one of these, so yeah, you in for a ride. But just to start off, I thought it would be nice to read a few reviews.
Let's have a review. People don't do enough of them.
No, they don't. They don't, and they do. So first of all, thank you for those that do, because they just mean that load to us. It just keeps us sort of like encouraged at the fact that yeah.
Well, it's really hard because we don't have necessarily a visible audience.
Yes, true.
Yeah, we create content, we put it out there.
Yeah.
For all we know, like nobody could listen to this.
We know the numbers behind. We know that you are here. We know that you're listening. But yes, it's not that sort of like instant feedback loop, if that makes sense.
No. Come on, then. Has anybody left us not a 5-star review?
Crickets. Nobody. Yes. This one's by Adam Lowndes, so thank you, Adam. Listening to Sam and Igor every week has become a bit of a religious therapy for me and my work as a wedding photographer. The variety of guests, especially people I've not heard before, is great. I especially love the Sprinkles episode and the diversifying a business chat. Thanks for the time and effort this must take. I appreciate it.
Yes, Adam.
Yes, Adam. That's really, really good. Let me find another one.
Really, whilst you're finding this, people could just jump on their platform of choice and just leave a little review for us. That would be really nice. They could say happy birthday, Igor, couldn't they?
100%. Yeah, just drop it. Imogen Partridge. Such a fantastic episode. Oh, such a fantastic podcast. Enjoyable, funny, inspirational, and incredibly useful as a small business owner. I'm not a photographer and would encourage anyone, especially small business owners, to have a listen because there is so much to gain from these chats.
How good is that though? Because we set out, didn't we, at the start to kind of create this aimed at people that are running a small business.
Yes.
Like we've talked about it. We talked about it with Grace on a couple of previous episodes, didn't we? About how, we loved Stephen's Diary of a CEO, but we've kind of felt like it was almost like the guests are incredible on that podcast, but they're almost so stratospheric and out there that you just can't almost relate to it. Whereas we wanted people that are just on the street,
Yeah.
and they're in our hoods. We wanted people that are in it with us. The day to day
in the ghetto.
They're in the ghetto with us. So we've brought those people in.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Yeah, I'll leave it at that in terms of the reviews.
Yeah. Well, we should do that more often.
We should.
Yeah, we should.
Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you so much, Imogen, and people. Just drop more reviews because we start reading them out a lot more.
So this episode is just a few thoughts and brain dumps from me and you, isn't it, around what's happened over the last year, the lessons that we've taken from it, and hopefully, like every episode that we've put out, we genuinely hope that, just one of these little points might just land on you and it might make you go, oh yeah, I see that. I see things differently now.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about it over and over and over again on this podcast, that even the conversations me and you have with people on it, that we both take things away from it. And sometimes we take 3, 4, 5 things away from an episode. Sometimes we might just take one, but over the course of a year, that's a lot of value.
Yeah.
And it's free for you people.
Here we go.
So
here we go.
Leave us a bloody like, share it, put an Instagram story out that says, these guys are doing good things, you should go and check them out. Because it will help. So the first thing that I wrote down on my notes for a lesson from the year of podcasting is just start the bloody thing.
Yeah, just do it. It's
Have you watched the Air film yet? No, you've just said just do it. I started last night. I started last night.
Yeah.
If you're new to this podcast, this is what happens, by the way. we're just going to go off on little tangents.
Point number one. On tangents, it's literally straight away.
So, because I didn't realise it's on Amazon Prime for free. So I started watching it last night, and I'm going to watch it. I'm going to finish it tonight. It looked really good. My brother was
for anyone that doesn't know, it's the story of how Nike started.
Well, how they got Jordan. Yeah, how they got Jordan on board.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know. You obviously haven't seen it.
No, I've not seen it. So
this conversation can't go anywhere else. back to my point of just start the bloody thing. Yeah. So we've heard this countless times that people have ideas, and actually Ryan talked about this really well on the last episode that went out about how so many people have so many ideas, but the people that make successes of them are the ones that just get out there and they start it.
Yeah.
And they don't hang around. They don't wait for it to be perfect. They don't, wait for the final result. They just get out there and they make a start. And I think when you look at what we've done over the last year and a half, since we started recording in the studio, we haven't really hesitated or questioned it. We've just got on with it and done it. And we've always believed and trusted in the process that it's going to grow over time.
Yeah.
And we just need to make that start.
Which has been a hard ride in some ways sometimes, because you don't see the sort of like the end result straight away, if that makes sense.
I mean, we haven't even got an end result yet, have we? We've still had conversations over the last 12 months where we're going, is this the right thing to do? Mm-hmm. Are we doing the right thing? It doesn't really make us any money. And we've always said it's never about the money, but money's nice.
We are businessmen.
We are business people, and we do need to, generate something from our time. But also at the same time, we understand that not everything happens straight away, and that it's going to take time to grow. But we have started it, and it has grown. The numbers have been. I think one thing we're all guilty of is not kind of reflecting on that journey. When you're in it, you're just in it, aren't you? You're getting on with it. It's hard to remember or recognize that people do tune in every week. People do listen. Those numbers are increasing. They are going up. People are sharing it and shouting about it. And another thing to look at, I think, well, we can get into this in a bit more detail in a bit, but is like when you look at the guests that are now starting to come on board and that are starting to say, can we come on it? We're getting approached by people to come on the podcast.
Yeah. Because they clearly can see the value within it, really, of what we are creating, really. And simple enough, really. I was going to say that, though, we got to sort of like pat ourselves in the back a little bit at the same time, in the sense of bringing money in, because money is coming in, Sam. And
it is a little bit, yeah.
We are at 2 figures in the bank.
Which is nice. Yeah.
We're not at 3 figures yet, 3-figure business, but it's coming in.
Do you mean 5 figures? We're at 5 figures, aren't we?
5, 6. Yeah, 5.
Five
that's
figures.
What I mean. That's what I mean.
2 figures would be worrying. We have £13 in the bank. So I suppose this probably leads on to the second point that we're going to make, which is evolve and change.
Yeah.
And again, I'm like, I gotta keep getting like flashbacks to other people talking about this on the podcast previously. I can't remember who did it, but talking about how, you're so set on this idea of your business that's it. You've got to stick to it. And actually, what we've had to do is kind of go, no, we're gonna move in this direction a little bit now. And I suppose the example of that is we set out at the very beginning, going, look, we need to do this AGM. We want to do this conference, and we haven't at all stopped the idea of doing the conference. We want to do it, but it just didn't feel like the time was right to get it off the ground yet.
I think we needed to take a few steps.
We're doing a 2-day, well, we're doing a 1-day workshop, but we're repeating it for 2 days. So we're doing not another styled workshop.
Yes,
aren't we?
Which is tickets are up.
Yeah,
and
I don't know how many are left now, but we're over halfway. We're over 50% sold out, which is great.
And early bird, you've missed it now. So make sure that you
could follow our sponsors, Imagine and Henley.
Yes,
albums.
Indeed.
They may have a discount code for you. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
just
you could reach out to them.
Bing.
But yeah, we did that. Well, because we've I suppose we saw a bit of a gap in the market in that we wanted to kind of combine the education side of what we do, but also with like the styled shoot industry that's kind of just exploded in the last year or two.
It would be silly of us not to do it, really, because it just seemed really obvious.
Yeah, and we just thought no one out there is really doing like a full wedding, almost like a full wedding day experience as a photographer. And I think of the styled shoots that we've done at other conferences, like they're great. Like you walk around with a couple around this, wherever you are, but you're not in a wedding venue, and it's not like the day-to-day thoughts or ideas that go through your mind when you're in an actual wedding scenario. So that was really a very strong kind of, I suppose it's a USP of what we're trying to do, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. So
and
that's
exciting.
The team is excellent. The team is absolutely incredible. I would, even if you're not coming, just check it out. Check it out, the brochure on the website and everything else to what we've got planning, because the team is absolutely incredible.
We should say that if anybody that's coming, if anybody is listening to this that is one of the suppliers we do absolutely love and appreciate what you're doing for us. And we're hoping to make it incredibly worthwhile for those guys as well by getting content, really kind of paying them back in a marketing sense as well, and just bringing them. I'm sure they may get a bottle of something as well. Igor, what do you reckon? I don't know. We haven't talked about that, but I'm sure they will.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, no, we love you guys. If any of you are listening, and a couple of them are previous guests on the podcast, so go and check those out.
Yeah.
So yeah, evolve and change. Anything else you want to add to
that? I think the biggest one for me has been, and it still is, it's still evolving and still changing really, but it's the whole, I've had to shift my mindset in terms of like being a solopreneur or a solo business owner, in the sense that it's always been me, it's my baby, and nobody else touches it, and that's it really. And one of the things, like from conversation after conversation after conversation, has always been that you just need to get more people involved in what you're doing, because you can't go it alone, basically.
No.
All the stories that we've heard, yes, people are driven and everything else, they achieved what they achieved because they've got great jobs, but the common thread constantly is the fact that they don't do it alone.
No. Well, I think that's been the great thing about podcasts, isn't it? And generally, is it feels like you're inviting those people into your world, and you're kind of consuming their content. But actually, what I suppose you're encouraging people to do is to actually go out and create your own little network. Because it's invaluable, whether they're people that are, you could say they are direct competition, but we never want you to see them as direct competition. They're people that are competition are actually there to support and help you as well, and you can hugely benefit each other and each other's businesses. But also, and I suppose this is a key part of this podcast, is that there are people that can help and support you and encourage you that aren't in your direct line of competition. And they can all bring lessons and value and experiences to your mindset. And I suppose it's something we've talked about many times before, but like if you see it as like you are just your own little island, and thou shalt not enter my island, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, you really are.
And then I suppose my final point, just to add into like the changing and evolve element of this podcast, and I think it's something that happened quite early on for us. And I'm going to shout her out and say, actually, she was the guest that made us reassess what we were doing, and that is that our guest speakers and the idea of who we needed to have on this podcast has changed. And I'm going to say it was Jess Somerville. So we brought Jess on, didn't we? Because she'd taken some photos for us, and we just had a really good chat with her, didn't we?
Yeah. It was a turning point. It really was a turning point, and I still remember me thinking
that was the glitter episode as well, wasn't it?
It was.
Still finding glitter in here, like 8 months on. I was vacuuming the floor the other day. I was like, I found a piece of glitter, like, bloody glitter cannons.
But yeah, you know we love you, Jess. But yeah, I was dubious. At first. I'm like,
right.
Is this?
So you explain that. So to people that are listening to the first time and haven't heard this, why did we question that? Or what was that process?
Again, it was the whole idea of, we have to have big guests in order to have big value given to the podcast, which is was completely wrong. Completely wrong, because
we wanted Stephen Bartlett, didn't we?
Yes, exactly.
But we got Jess Somerville. I hope she's listening.
I hope so too. But no, Jess absolutely smashed it, and very much knocked down the whole idea of the fact that you need to have big guests in order to have incredible value, really. And she just brought so much to the table, really.
She did, yeah. I mean, I never for a second doubted her, to be honest. I don't know why you did doubt her.
I know you keep saying that.
No, I think I can remember saying to you, I think we should have Jess on, because I think I just had a conversation with her and just thought, yeah, she's got so much. She's got a really good opinion. Mm-hmm. You know, she's got a great mindset and approach to business and what she's trying to do. But yeah, when we first started this podcast, we wrote a list, didn't we, on a board of like, people we'd love to have on, and they were all, you know, they've got to be big, you know, like they've got a big following, big reach for us to tap into. And Jess came on and just absolutely changed the conversation really between us, and she brought so much value to that episode. You know, talking about how her limitations were her inspirations. Yeah. And it completely made us motivations. It just made us completely see that there was another side to, you know, another side to it, and that somebody who was just starting out on her journey as a photographer, if she could bring so much value and insight and engaging content to an episode, then anybody can.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we've sort of like taken that approach even more so, a lot more open to whoever hits us up. Yes, you got to have a criteria, you got to be able to bring a sense of value, but we're a lot more open to that sort of thing now. And I was going to say something else, but I my mind.
Well, let's go from that to, I mean, we've mentioned Stephen and the Diary of a CEO, but actually if we look at how, you know, we've talked about this already in this episode about not giving ourselves enough credit sometimes about the journey. We've just had, you know, 2 episodes before this, we had Grace Andrews come on, who is Stephen's head of content for Diary of a CEO. And we've kind of played it down a little bit as though, Grace Andrews is coming on. It's great. And she was incredible. If you haven't listened to that episode, after this one's done, if I can encourage you to go and do anything, it's go and listen to that episode, because
it is literally one of my favorite episodes.
I mean, they're all my favorite.
Sam is treating like his kids,
but it is absolutely packed with just ideas. Like, she was so inspiring,
so inspiring,
so driven. But she brought really good conversations to the table, and I think if you listen to that episode, you are just going to be buzzing with ideas. But from our point of view, and I suppose the point I was trying to make is that we have to recognise that she wouldn't have come on 8-9 months before that. It's been part of the journey. We've had to do things and get up and running and figure things out to get ourselves to a position where we can bring somebody on like Grace Andrews, and to be able to appeal to somebody that's in demand, busy, you know, doing well in her career, for her to go, do you know what? I like what these guys are doing. I'm going to go on their podcast. I'm going to spend a day. I'm going to go up to Derby. We need to pay her invoice, by the way, for travelling. Don't know if we have seen that, but yeah, if it's coming, Grace, don't worry. But for us we almost just sort of just played it down as though it's just that's great, she's coming up. But actually, we wouldn't have had that 8-9 months before. Yeah.
And it just shows the power as well of networking, really, because Grace came through Isabel from Pearl Cosmetics, really.
Yeah. And who filled out a form on the website.
Yeah. And again, it just shows the thread, really.
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure Grace said it's the best podcast she's ever been on.
Yeah. The feedback was pretty great.
It wasn't maybe the best one, but she was very impressed at what we were doing. And even that, like, we've had to say to each other, hold on, let's just remind ourselves of what's happened here. Grace, who works with Stephen day in, day out, has come here and gone, what you're doing is great.
Yeah. She's surrounded by, she's part of the team of the biggest podcast in Europe.
Yeah.
Taking over US.
Taking over the States.
Keep going. And to have that sort of feedback directly to us, it's like,
incredible.
Yeah, we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So let's keep it up.
Yeah, that's good.
Keep it pushing.
Next point, moving on. And this is something that I wrote down as something I wanted to just discuss a little bit more in
Here we
bit
go,
more detail.
kids.
No, it's, no, that's coming up later. This is no, there's 2 points. No, this is about the micro decisions that you make on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I think that it's those sort of like decisions that are taken for granted so much, because most of the times, you can, in retrospective, you can very much see, yes, you can see where things have come from, but when you are in it day in and day out, it's so easy to sort of like forget the compounding effect of those small decisions, whether negative or positively, really. But yeah, I think it's a great point.
Yeah, because I think the big decision is to say, well, we're doing a podcast, we set up a podcast, but actually it's all those little day-to-day things that we make decisions on. And for you in your business, it might be that, you know, you've chosen to get up at 6 a.m. rather than 7:30. It might be that you've decided to go to the gym that day. It might be that you've, you know, had a networking call with a few of your peers in your industry to just soundboard ideas. You know, all of those little decisions that you make day to day, like you've just said, compound over time. And conversely, if you make bad decisions, they compound. And you know, we've talked about it before. I know we've had guests on here talk about it before. Like you don't get lucky in this career or this industry. Like you make your own luck, you know. And we're also guilty of looking at, you know, let's just take him for an example, right? Stephen Bartlett and Diary of a CEO. You could look at it and go, God, how has he done that? God, he's been dead fortunate, hasn't he? How he's just got to that level. But God, I can't even begin to imagine the hours and the work that's gone into that, and the drive to keep improving, to keep growing, to keep building, you know, to keep turning up when nobody was listening the first year or two. You know, that doesn't just happen. Yeah. It takes a consistent, considered approach day in, day out.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you said, we honed in on the positive of small decisions, but I love the fact that you mentioned the negative as well.
Yeah.
It's I guess it's one of those things
because we can all make bad decisions.
Exactly. And it's decision by decision by decision. It's a little bit by little bit by little bit. I just love that. Because whenever we talk about compounding effect, we always talk about it in a sort of like positive way, really. But yeah, do review the small decisions that you're making that are affecting your life negatively.
It could be that you're in a toxic Facebook group and you go in there and, you know, slag off people in your industry because someone's annoyed you, or you could we've seen it in our industry, people moaning about their couples or what they've been fed, or you know, like it's a negative mindset, and you get away with it if you do it once or twice, but you don't get away with it if you do it every few days.
Yeah, that's it. And bit by bit, it will start affecting you, your business, your health, and everything else. Really, it just trickles down from that. Really, so yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym again today.
I've been to the gym this morning.
Have you already been this morning? Have you?
Yeah.
Ah. Well done, you.
Yeah.
Well done.
It's not competition, but yes.
No, but you know, again, it's a small decision to get up and go, and you feel better for it.
Yes, that's it.
So yeah, anything else on that point?
No, you smashed it.
Oh, thank you, Igor. So the next point, the one that I've got to build myself up for this, because I feel like this has been brewing for 15 years.
Pull up a chair, kids. Sam's got a gripe.
Hold on. Let me just get my notes up so I don't miss anything that I wanted to talk about. So I suppose that when we sat down to talk about our notes, I wanted to talk a little bit about and to reflect on what we're doing here and why we're doing this podcast. And I think one of the big things for me over the last year or so of doing this has been that it's given me a bit of time to, like, I feel like I've become much more self-aware. I think when you have conversations with people and you open yourself up to new ways of thinking or seeing things, that it makes you question you and like why you're where you're at and why you're doing what you're doing. And for me, I've started to think, or I think I made some notes on this I said to you earlier, like last September, that I was thinking about this, and it really made me question why we're doing this podcast. And I think in some kind of strange, subconscious kind of way, I think it's almost like a bit of a middle finger up to the education system in the UK. And that huge amount of dissatisfaction, frustration, disappointment at not being supported when I was probably 14, 15, 16, in those really kind of formative years of being a teenager, and feeling a little bit lost, probably a little bit isolated. You've got people in your class and your peers that are, I don't know, I always felt like they knew what they wanted to do. I was never particularly great, and I'm sure so many creatives are going to resonate with this when I say it, but I was never very good at exams. I've always had this love for creativity, but it never really, I never feel as though it got channeled or encouraged or pushed in the right direction, because the school system is ultimately set up to encourage you to be good at science, English and maths, and to be able to, let's be honest, like regurgitate information, and to retain information that you can then just put down. And I could never do that. I was never very good at going into an exam and trying to remember. I just go blank, and that frustrated me. But what also frustrates me, and this is the main point that I wanted to make, is that the creative industry was never really promoted as a viable career path.
Yeah, I think that's a big one.
The only thing that got put to me was that you could go and be an architect. But now, being almost 40 this year, I now know that being an architect is a very, very small career path for very few people. And actually the creative industry is so much more diverse, and there are so many more opportunities and potential out there. And that's a real frustration, but also like this idea, and I think it kind of then, the knock-on effect of this not being encouraged at school is that it then falls into mainstream society that then also believes that the creative industry isn't a viable career. And this is probably why, so many parents don't encourage their kids to go into creative industries, because they want the kids to go and be successful in a proper career. So there's that, but I also think one of my real frustrations is that it's not just a career. The creative industry isn't seen as an industry that can fulfill you, like in terms of your job satisfaction, provide a stable career. And the big one that I always think gets so overlooked is that it can't provide, a level of, success or wealth or income.
Yeah,
like that really, it pisses me off, because we both know that it can. When we see
you're a wedding
it.
photographer,
and I'm not saying like
you must be poor.
When I say wealth, I don't mean like crazy numbers, but for a lot of people, earning 60, 70, 80 grand would be incredibly wealthy. And that's quite achievable in the creative industry if you 100%. Can find your niche and you can be a success of it. So that really angers me, and I think it's angered me for a long time. And I think really when I go back full circle to when we started this podcast, I think one thing we wanted to do was really open up the conversation around this industry. And still, one of the number one episodes we've put out was that one about finances.
Yeah.
Because people do not talk about it in anywhere near enough in our industry. And I genuinely wish that I could go back to being that sort of 15, 16-year-old kid again and be told, look, there's this whole world out there for you to go and explore. Here's the path, here's the roads that you can go on. Go and figure it out. Yeah. And I think that's probably why for maybe the first sort of first part of my 20s, I felt just a bit lost and a bit kind of unsure as to where to go. I hope that's changed a little bit now. I'm skeptical. Still not entirely sure it is.
It definitely has. I like to think, but at the same time, I think that this podcast is the pure sort of like epitome of response towards that, really, because there is so much more that can be done by just simply showing up and just being examples in the fact that yes, you can have a creative business and be successful at it, and I say successful to whatever degree you want that to be, really. And yes, there is ways of doing it and doing it really, really well, and still be fulfilled and content really with your business and life in general, really. So yeah,
because I think it's great. I think it's great that people will listen to this that will have small businesses. They'll, you know, be of a similar age to us. They'll have been in business for 5, 6, 7 years. That's great. But what I really love is that maybe there's like a 15, 16-year-old younger version of us.
Yeah.
Just sat at home listening to it going,
imagine mini Sam and mini Igor.
I could go and do that.
Yeah.
And you can. Like, we live in a wonderful age of resource that you don't need to go to university. You could watch YouTube episodes from a certain niche or industry and teach yourself. You just got to get out there and give it a go. And I think you've got to experiment, and you're not meant to know at a young age what it is you may well know what it is you're passionate about, but you've also got to be open to it and open to change. Yeah. And the fact that we have all these episodes sat here for people to go back and listen to whenever they want to and to be inspired by them is incredible. I love that. It
really is. And it's funny you say that, because Callum, my BTS guide I had over the weekend, he's 22, just literally graduated last year from...
For context, you had somebody doing behind the scenes stuff of you working in Morocco, didn't you?
Yes. And he just graduated from doing cinematography.
Yeah.
And from his own perspective, it literally feels like it was a waste, really, because the amount of stuff that he learned just by jumping in and doing his business and just starting shooting a wedding and shadowing people, and it just feels like I should have done this a lot sooner.
Yeah.
But
he's 22.
Yeah.
You go, Callum.
Exactly.
You go, mate.
But it's just incredible to see in some ways. But at the same time, if you are thinking of jumping into the creative business and thinking about going to university, just jump in.
We've got a back catalogue of 50 plus episodes that you could listen to and just get involved. It's actually, you know, if you listen to this and you've got friends or family that are of that age, like, I can't encourage you enough to just point them in the direction of what we've done here.
Yeah.
And just let them hear this conversation.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you almost need to be told, don't you, that...
Yeah. Given permission that, yes, this is how it can be done.
Yeah. That's kind of it, really. And I think about what we're doing with this podcast. I know we kind of set like a bit of a mission statement at the start, didn't we? And I've kind of forgotten what it was, but I know it was along the lines of, you know, we wanted to champion, support and inspire people, you know, in this industry. And I genuinely hope that if you're in this industry, that we do inspire you and we give you value and insights that you may not have necessarily been open to or aware of. But also, if you're not in the industry and you're in a day job that doesn't fulfill you, that we are giving you ideas or thoughts around how you can transition into being self-employed, creative, whatever it might be, to working away from that career that doesn't fulfill you. Because you can't put a price on that, can you?
It's quite exciting, really, to think about it. To think about that we are in someone's ear right now that might be a cubicle and sort of like thinking, I'm making the jump.
Yeah. Who's doing it?
Yeah, I think it's... Yeah, I consider it quite a privilege, really, to be in that sort of position. But at the same time, I don't know. I just get a little bit nostalgic, really. But yeah, keep it up, guys. Keep going forth. And yes, please leave us a review. All the things that we've said here throughout, whatever it may be that really keeps you coming back to us, let us know what it is.
Yep.
And
I like that people like that we just have a an open conversation around other stuff, and it's not always, just business.
Yeah.
We always wanted to keep it kind of a really open conversation, didn't we? So I'm going to ask you, like, what sandwich did you get me for my lunch? What did you get me?
I got you the no duck wrap.
I like that one.
Which might as well have duck because it's delicious. And what's the other one? The pastrami?
Oh, the no salt beef bagel.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We aren't sponsored by the M&S Plant Kitchen range, but if anyone at M&S headquarters is listening to us, we would quite happily take payment in a year's supply of M&S Plant Kitchen produce.
100%.
Yeah, big fans here at Another Idea. So right, we're going to go and have some lunch. Thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you to everybody for the last year. Anybody that's listened to us, championed us, shouted us out on Instagram, sent it to your mate, sent it to your mum, whatever you've done.
Yep.
We do appreciate it. We do see it. We've got some plans now going into the next 12 months of Another Idea. We hope that this is going to keep going. And yeah, just watch this space.
Yeah.
Still got a few tickets left for the Not Another Styled Shoot. If you're a photographer and you want to get involved in the wedding industry, or you're in it and you want to see how we work and how we approach a wedding day, I feel like I'm really cramming a load of stuff in here at the end of the episode.
It's almost like you're watching a countdown.
I'm just talking for the sake of talking now.
Okay, let's just go.
Bye, boys and girls.